I've used the standard sensors and did some comparison between them. For instance, in the mini Eric robot, I've used a ping ultrasonic sensor and two sharp infrared long range sensors. Um, Comparing these two sensors, I can say that the ultrasonic sensor cannot see a wall that comes at an angle, you know, because the sound will bounce off the wall in the opposite direction, unless the wall has a bit asperities or something like that, to bounce off some sound waves back to the sensor. But the infrared sensor can detect the wall perfectly. The infrared sensor will give false triggers if there is nothing in its range. So it's always good to have a combination of sensors. For detecting walls, it's very good. It will not work if there is black and shiny surface. Then it's gonna be a little bit tricky to make it work. Sometimes will work, sometimes will not. Yes, I'm gonna use a standard sharp sensor because that's what I had handy. To fit in a ultrasonic sensor, it's more difficult because it's a larger sensor. Also, the ultrasonic sensor can get false readings or sound waves bounced off the floor, especially if the floor is irregular, like a carpet. If you have it too close to the low to the floor, it will get false distance. Oh yeah, like I see in your image, I see you have a robot over there. Your ping sensor may work fine on a table, but you may you may have errors if you put it on the carpet. Well, I have two ping sensors that I burned. I have no idea. They just stopped working. Actually, I think on one of them, it was one of the capacitors just broke off the board, and I didn't know what happened, and I couldn't find the capacitor. So I was thinking to get the capacitor from the sensor that got burned. So probably that would work, but it's a tiny little SMD capacitor, which is a bit hard to solder, and I will just postpone it. I won't do it if I'm not pressed to it. Yes, speaking of the QRD sensors, I've used them to create uh, reflective encoder, quadrature encoder on this old perf board. I can call it actually prehistoric. It was my attempt to make a homemade Arduino board for a special robot, and this is how the top of the board looks. But now take a look at the bottom.
Your board making skills have come a long way.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's insane.
But the sensors worked pretty well as encoders. The only thing, you have to be careful to keep a constant distance between the sensor and the wheel. Yeah, and the wheels are just caps from a jar, and I just put a little bit of rubber on top of them.
Cool.
From a bicycle tire.
Nice.
Yeah, and I had to add a spacer underneath for the wheels to be at the specific distance, the optimal distance for the sensor to work. Yeah, a bicycle tube, actually, not a tire, just the inner tube.